I've picked out a project from my Wire and Beaded Wedding Jewelry book, which is published by Seco Books. And you'll see there's loads of projects, from cake decorations to candle holders for the table, for bridesmaids, pieces, for things, just accessories and cards and everything to do with a wedding or creating handicraft pieces for a wedding. So do take a look at that book. And it doesn't have to be aimed at, we're going to do this one, the Pearly Swirl Bracelet, but it doesn't have to be aimed at weddings. So many of these projects can also be made just as normal pieces. It doesn't have to be that particular topic. So do look out for this book. It's full of inspiration. So we're going to make this sort of encased bead idea. You see, you could use small and big beads, you can use crystals, you can use any bead of your choice. You can put the swirl on it, which is what I'm going to show you. You could also do a halo idea where it spins around in the middle and it's sort of encased but has a halo. Or you just do it without the swirl. So once you know this project, and if you don't want to use beads, you can just have it plain with wire and a little sort of zigzag of wire in the middle. So I'm just trying to show you that one project can be so many different things. So I'm using 10mm pearls, 0.4 and 0.8mm wire. So for each of the beads, I'm going to find a cylindrical mandrel. It could be a pen or a lipstick or whatever size your bead is, and it wants to be no bigger than your bead. And then measure, for this 10mm bead, I'm measuring about 5.5, 6 inches. But obviously each bead is different, so you'll have to work that out. But you find the center, holding it with your round nose pliers, and then you sort of pull those wires parallel, take the tips of your chain nose pliers and squeeze just by the circular mandrel of the pliers, and that pinches it to create that top circle. So there you have, it's not wrapped, it's just pinched together to create the circle. That's where you're going to link everything together. Now I'm just cutting a little piece, it's probably about 2.5 inches of the 0.4mm wire, and I'm going to bind that to hold and close the top of the circle that secures the circle together. Cut off the excess and just push that down so that it's nice and neat and it's held firmly together. So that's now gripped and secured and connected, and this circle is complete. So now you pull out the two ends, make sure they're sitting out on each side, and then you're going to create the circle. So whatever cylindrical mandrel that is the size of your bead, you push the two wires around the outside of the mandrel to shape it into a circle. So hold it nice and tight, and then again take the tips and pinch. Pinch those two ends to create that circular shape that your bead is going to go into the center of. And there's your center. So I'm not even hammering this, I'm just keeping it like that. Now bring that fine wire down the center of that circle, thread your chosen bead, and just push it into the center of the circle you've just created, and then bind a couple of binds at the opposite end. Make it nice and tight. Don't over bind it, just a couple of bindings will do. Cut off the excess and just neaten that up. So now the bead is encased on each side with a wire, and it should completely surround it. Now take one of the projecting wires and bring that right down, and you're going to create an open spiral. So start off with a circle using your round nose pliers, grip that circle and then keeping that spiral open, just keep curling and curling and curling until it comes up to the center of that bead that you have just put in the circle. So, and push it down. Just make sure you push it down with your fingers that it sits at the center. So the swirl is only on one side. And then with the other projecting wire, you're going to make your end link. So that's where it's going to connect to the next bead. And you just make a wrapped loop. So hold it and then wrap the excess wire just under. You don't want to do too many wraps, don't make it too bulky. And then that gives you the link on the opposite side. So that's how each of the beads of the bracelet are created. You just repeat again and again. And then for the very ends, just where those links are, only at the ends. Don't hammer any wrapped stem bit, but just the very ends. That hardens it. That hardens the ends and means when it's a bracelet, it'll be much firmer and it will hold better. So that's how you'll create each of those links. So you do that probably about 6 to 7 times, depending on the length of the bracelet, or you could make it into a necklace. And then you add a clasp, and you link everything together with a jump ring. So between each of these units is a jump ring, and that connects the whole chain of the pearly swirls together. And make sure that the last loop at the end, or the wrap loop at the end of that pearl, is big enough to become the eye of the fastener. So earrings can be made like that with little drop crystals. As I say, necklaces can be made like this. It gives you so many options, and you don't have to do it with the same size beads. You can change the cylindrical mandrel and have smaller beads and bigger beads and crystals. But for a beautiful wedding piece, I think it's perfect. So I hope you've enjoyed the project, and do take a look at my books. Thank you very much for watching.